Okay, good.
The way you rewrote it's good.
All right, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. It's 2 o'clock. If we could have everybody sit down and we'll get started. Okay, so for the roll call, Beth, could you take roll call for us, please?
Marge.
Yes. Kathy Batchelor.
Here?
Candy English.
Here.
Beth Dingman, here. Nellie Johnson.
Here.
Bart Hillier.
Here.
Steve Reynolds.
Here.
Dave Barker.
Here.
Marge Garneau was here.
She stepped out, I think, for a minute. She'll be right back.
Bev Lawless. Lanny Smith.
Here.
Jody Walker. Scott Summers.
Here.
Okay, thank you, everybody. We have a quorum. So for the second item on the agenda, is there anyone that wants to make an amendment to the agenda or a motion to adopt the agenda?
I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Okay. Thank you. All those in favor of approving the agenda as it is, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, there's Bev. Okay, good.
Nancy Bev Lawless just came in. Okay, we have a presentation at this point for the GVR Foundation to make a presentation of grant funds to GVR for the MAP program. So if we could have the presenters come up to the podium and wanted to do a picture taking event.
Yeah, I'll get a few pictures while we're here handing over checks.
Okay, do you want to get up there?
I will. Do you want to join me and
Sure.
maybe you can accept the checks?
I would love to.
All right.
You missed the roll call.
It's right here. Somebody had it.
On behalf of the GVR Foundation, we are pleased to present this check for $30,000 towards MAP that covers the $25,000 from the grant request plus a bonus of an extra $5,000 thanks to the success of our bingo program. Thank you.
I would just like to say with regards to this, a great big thank you to the GVR Foundation. Not only do they have a wonderful bingo program where the funds are directly for the MAP program, they have been wonderful to work with. We have an ad hoc committee that is working with them at this point, and we have developed a small steering committee where we're going to have a big fundraising event throughout this year, and hopefully we'll be able to make the program even larger than what it is. So a big thank you to the foundation. Thank you all very much for everything you do. Okay, so President's Report. I don't have anything particular except to thank everybody that came to the meeting today. We're getting towards the end of the year, so it's nice to see people coming to the meeting. And with that, I'm going to send it over to Scott for the CEO report.
Great, thank you, Madam Chair. A couple items. The long-anticipated West Center Lapidary Club expansion project is going to kick off very soon. There's a pre-construction meeting scheduled for March 3rd, and we expect construction to start somewhere towards the end of March. It'll start with some demo and then go from there. And this should wrap up hopefully by next winter, probably late next winter. Bids for the West Center Membership Services expansion are due March 20th. That RFP is out, and we are waiting to see what those bids come in at. The Abrego South pool design and locker room design, concept design, continues to move forward. We are tentatively scheduled to bring that discussion and a decision back to this board on March 18th. This would be approval of a concept, review the cost estimates, and then review the soil engineer report. That's what we're anticipating. If and when the board approves the concept drawing at that meeting, the architect would then move into developing 100% architectural construction documents, and we would be able to then go out for permitting and bidding, and possibly coming back to the board in about August to ask the board to award a contract at that time. So there's a lot of ifs in there and a couple hurdles before anything moves forward. I just want to make sure that that's clear. The pickleball fencing, this was kind of an exciting project. We've been waiting a long time to get some fencing around the pickleball center, but the bids for that project are due today. No, not today, the 27th, which is exciting. It'd be nice to get that done. This summer, we're going to start on the Las Campanas Fitness Room expansion as well as the Santa Rita Fitness Center expansion. The Santa Rita one will be smaller because we really only have that corner office to work with, but that will add some square footage to the fitness center. And so that is my report and update. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
I'm not seeing anybody raise their hand, so must be good, Scott. With the committee reports next, the audit committee, Bev Lawless.
We have a meeting to review the audit March 23rd.
Okay,
That's it.
great, thank you. Board Affairs, Candy English.
Hi, good afternoon. Board Affairs did not meet in February. However, we will be meeting again in March, on Tuesday, March 10th at 1:30 p.m. in room 2 over there. And at that time, we're going to be working on our end-of-year work plan and what it is that we've accomplished and what we're planning for next year. And we do have the open, transparent meeting, so you're certainly invited to come. If you can't, then it's okay for you to view it on our website the next day and see what we're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. Investment Committee, Lanny Smith.
Nothing to report, Madam Chair. We held our last meeting in February, January.
Thank you. Nominations and elections, Beth Dingman.
The N&E Committee met on February 12th to finalize format and questions for the 2 forums. The first on March 4th at 5 p.m. in Kanoa Hills, and the second on March 11th at 5 p.m. right here in the West Center. Voting begins March 9th and ends on March 20th. I also wanted to let people know that the candidates who are here today will be available to talk to after our meeting if you wish to. Maybe they should raise their hands and identify themselves. Okay, so they'll be available after the meeting for you to talk to. Also, I want to announce that the candidate interviews are currently posted on the website, and you can check them out there, the interviews with Regina. At our February 12th meeting, we also talked about staffing the committee table at the upcoming showcase, which is on March 2nd. And our next meeting is, Nancy? Sorry, we just kept moving it and going back, huh? March 12th. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I skipped over fiscal affairs, and I apologize, Nellie. Nellie Johnson will give a report on fiscal affairs.
Thank you. We met third Tuesday of this month. We spent considerable time reviewing the updated reserve fund for the facilities, which is called the MR&RA fund, and that has been updated by Browning and posted on the website. We also spent time looking at the MR&RB, which is the pools and spas fund, and looking at the model assumptions. And that report is posted, as you remember, it is done by internal staff, and that is posted along with the consultant's report that was available. As the Abrego information comes in, we meet in March, on March 17th. So we'll be looking at how the numbers fit into the overall pool reserve. And we'll also are starting to look at, from an educational standpoint, a review of our information systems, because we do anticipate that staff, and they're currently looking at replacing two major systems going into the next budget cycle. And so we will just gain information on the information systems as we prepare for the budget cycle starting in August.
Thank you, Nellie. Planning and evaluation, Steve Reynolds. We have a note here that says that the committee has completed its work and no report is needed at this point. So just to make a comment for Steve on that.
Thank you.
Next item is the consent agenda, and that would be for items that are routine to be approved or not approved, either way you look at it. For the minutes, for the regular board meeting for January 28th of 2026, the Board of Directors work session minutes from February 18th, 2026, and the financial statements from January of this year. And also for the business item of the FAC recommendation to approve the Browning Reserve Group complete an off-site review for 2026. And that was an item that Nellie pointed out to us that was just an action item that the board needed to take approval of to appoint them for this year. So all of those are routine consent agenda items. So do I have a motion to approve those?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. And a second, Candy? Okay, thank you for, I'm sorry, everyone need to take a vote. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. Okay, so it's unanimous. Thank you, everybody. Action items. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the 2026 annual work plan, which we discussed at our work session last week, I believe it was. You want to take that, Scott?
Sure, it's fairly self-explanatory. You did have a work session on this last week. There were a few changes. Those changes have been implemented into the annual work plan that's in your packet. I can pull it up on the screen if you'd like, or if we need to make some last-minute adjustments, we can certainly do that. This, as a reminder, is a support document for the 5-year strategic plan. This annual work plan, once we get each one of these items checked off, it supports a higher level goal or initiative or objective, and ultimately the mission and the vision of the organization. This has been, I think, a real robust 5-year plan, because we have had working documents through this annual report, and it has kept things moving forward. And it's part of my performance evaluation at the end of the year. You all get to look at it, and we get to see how successful we were and I was in moving things forward. So this is the last year of the 5-year plan. The board, at some point within the next month or two, will be asked to award a contract for a consultant to help the board develop the next 5-year plan, which would start January 1, 2027. We're still wrapping up this year, though, so we've got one more year of this year. So here's the plan that we've presented. We've certainly talked it over quite a bit, and again, if there are last-minute adjustments or changes, we are prepared to make those right now. Thank you.
Excuse me, are there any comments from the board members with regard to this item? Would somebody like to make a motion to approve it?
I move to approve the proposed 2026 annual work plan.
Thank you. Second? Candy? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Bart, I don't see your hand. Never mind. So we have 10 people approving and all those opposed? And one person opposed, and that would be Bart Hillier. Thank you, everybody. So we're going to move on to Item B, which would be approval of the BAC recommendation for the CPM changes to 1.2.1, point A, point 5, point B. And Candy is the chair of that committee, so she is going to start the discussion on this.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson, Person. Basically, what I'm going to do is go ahead and give you a little bit of a background of the corporate policy manual complementary guest policy and how it relates to how we want to change it and make it equitable along with the regular annual guest pass. Earlier this year, the BAC, which is the Board Affairs Committee, was given the charge to look at the annual guest pass, as that seemed to be the area in which there was the most misuse. So in working on that, and also with your input, we came up with that the annual guest pass could be valid for 30 days, plus an additional 30 days without having to renew it. It could automatically renew if you wanted that. So when we looked at the annual guest pass, we went back to look at the complimentary guest pass policy, and it was not equitable because the complimentary guest pass policy only allowed for 30 days, not the additional 30 days, which would make it 60 days. So if the annual guest pass was now for 60 days, we feel like that the complimentary guest pass should also be eligible for 60 days. So if we look at the corporate policy manual, which you might have on page 19, and we look at section 1.2.1 A5B. And I'm going to read it because this is what the committee recommends that we change it to this language. The complimentary guest ID, a single-only annual guest card, shall be issued to the sole owner GVR members for one guest for 30 days within the year and allow an extension for 30 days more for a total of 60 days for no fee where there is no other person residing with the GVR member. So we figure this policy change is going to make things equitable between the complimentary guest card ID and the annual pass that the two-party homeowners have. We want it to make it equitable with the one-person homeowner policy. So, open to discussion.
I'm going to make a motion at this point for this item to recommend that we maintain the existing complimentary guest ID statement that is here, and that would be to delete what is in red on page 19 so that it would remain the same as what it has been. And I have reasons for doing that, but I guess I need a second in order to discuss it from that point.
A second.
Thank you, Bev. Okay. This has been talked about along with the annual guest pass for a year. And last month, 2 months ago, the board approved a new guest pass policy, and then last month we had we even did a survey that just short of 2,100 people responded to regarding guest pass policy. And then last month we had a large contingency come to the board meeting and say, no, we don't like this annual guest pass that you've already voted on. We want you to change back from the one person per pass, where we really went forward and we talked about it for the whole year, where we had to have a guest pass for each person that is on our properties. And what this group that came to us last month said, no, we want to stay with the four guests per pass, per annual guest pass. And after a very large discussion, the majority of this board agreed with that. I believe the vote was 10-1. So they went back to approving 4 guests for an annual guest pass. And so we're in the same position we were before. And we still, our staff is still really not going to be able to enforce it, which is one of the things that we got for comments from people who took the survey. many of their comments were, we want you to enforce, we don't care if you keep what you have, but we want you to enforce it. And so now, from what I can see, we are back to what we had. We now have four people that can come in on one guest pass, going to make it extremely difficult for our staff, any of our staff, to be able to enforce that. Because we did have some people, and I'm just going to use this one person as an example. I'm making a presentation, Nancy, so I think I get 10 minutes on this. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Well, let me just finish. I want to wrap this up because 3 years ago, the singles worked, I'm not sorry, 3 years ago, 8 years ago when I came, we worked for 3 years to get the pass, to get the complimentary guest pass for singles. And what it did was that it made it equal where single households could have 2 cards because a married household was getting 2 cards. It made it equal between married people and single people. And the reason I'm asking for this to stay exactly the way that it is because that takes away the equality of a single person having a guest pass as opposed to a married couple. Beth.
So as a single person, you get an additional complimentary cardholder ID, right?
Right.
Okay. So and then you are, as the owner and the person who lives in that house, you get a complimentary guest pass, right? In addition, you can buy a complimentary guest pass just like the rest of us, or not?
Sure. Well,
Okay,
no, not
so
a
you can-
complimentary, not a complimentary. You would have to pay for another guest
That's what I'm
pass.
saying. You have to pay for one. So you get this one free.
Right.
And then you get this other one, and then you can go and then use your pass to buy a guest pass for people who come, for 4 people who come to your house and stay, right?
I could buy
I
could buy an annual guest pass.
Right, you could buy an annual guest pass,
Which,
and you've, off of your regular pass, you can buy an annual guest pass, just like everybody else, for 4 people, and you've still got this other pass sitting here, right? This complimentary card holder.
right.
So who is going to take advantage? There's not I don't understand why it's unfair, because you can still have the guests just the way everybody can have guests. The single person can still have 4 guests on a complimentary guest pass that they buy.
Oh, that they buy, yes.
And you also have the complimentary ID, which I assume if you had 1 guest, you could give it to them for whatever. Right now, we're saying 30 days. Right now, it's you can do it forever. But the problem with what you're suggesting, it seems to me, is again, people who are single, who have that complimentary one, giving it to someone else, who then just uses it for the year, and again, there's no ability to enforce it.
Again, this guest pass that I get and I am the only person on this board that is a single sole owner, property owner member. The guest pass states valid for 1 guest per visit. So I got this card when I came 11 years ago. I have used it 3 times over 11 years, so I'm not one of the abusers. But there are abusers, I will say that, I will agree to that. However, there are abusers in the annual guest pass as well that are normally used by a couple, but not necessarily by a couple. It could be, I could go, if I had 4 people coming to my house, I could use this for 1.
Right.
And then I could buy an annual guest pass that would cover the next 3.
Right.
So I'm not sure why you say there's no difference.
Because there's that.
This is only good for 1 person.
That's good for 1 person.
Right. And that made me equal to a couple who received 2 cards for their house, where I was paying the same dollar amount for 1 card.
I know, but there is no other person.
Pardon?
I said there is no other person to use that pass besides you And if there is another person, it's somebody that you're giving it to use outside of the other, and outside of,
Right.
you know,
But
and
if
for
you
a whole
look at-
year without any regulation.
But if you look at the rules in the CPM, a guest is a person who lives 20 miles outside the borders of GVR. It is not for someone who lives within the borders of GVR. It never has been. Beth?
I'm going to make a slight correction. I also am a single homeowner. There is another person living in the house, and he has a complimentary cardholder ID or whatever they call it. I don't believe that we need to provide complimentary guest cards. They need to pay for them. Somebody needs to pay for them, the guest or the homeowner. It's not, and it doesn't matter if you're a single household or a dual household, whether guests need to pay for guest cards. We don't need to provide free cards for guests, whether it's 30 days or 60 days.
I'm not saying two guest cards for anybody.
Right.
What I'm saying is it should remain the same as what was approved January 1st of 2020. In that, every household then was entitled to 2 cards per home.
Right.
So if you were a single guest, if you were a single homeowner and nobody was living with you, you chose the complimentary guest pass so that when you had people come to visit you, you could use that card for one person per visit. So if you had 2 people visiting you, you had to go out and buy another card. However, the other choice that a single household has and still has is if you are living with someone, then that person you can choose to have that person have a complimentary additional card for that property. So you're treating, if you're living together, you still get 2 cards for a couple, but the single person still only has 1 card except for this policy and the CPM. What I want to see happen is for us to keep this policy where we have 1 card for a guest. And I understand that there are some people who are abusing that and are handing it out, let's say, to somebody that lives in a non-GVR house. And that is against the rules. A guest is a person who is visiting you from 20 miles outside our boundaries. You cannot give this card to someone who's renting your property, because then they have to have a tenant card. They are renters. They cannot join a club. A guest cannot join a club as for member purposes. But a tenant can. If a tenant is renting your property and they're renting with the idea of being here for 3 months and they want to use the facilities, then if they have a tenant card, they can join a club for that 3-month period if they so choose. Otherwise, they get to use all of the facilities as a tenant. If you are a single household owner, you have a complimentary guest card for your guest. I have a guest staying with me this week. She is from California. She's here for 3 days. We haven't even gone to anything that she needed to use this guest card for, and we probably won't. But the fact of the matter is that I have it if I need it. That person is coming from 20 miles outside the boundaries, which is what the rules are for CPM. Just 1 second, Marge. I'll let you speak in just a second. What we are dealing with, and Scott has been very good this last month. He's been providing us with the people that they are picking cards up from that are abusing the use of it, not only for a complimentary guest card, but also for annual guest card. And it is not just single people who are doing that. So they are telling their renters, here, you can use my complimentary guest card, and you cannot. This says 1 person per visit. So if you're renting your house to a couple, only 1 person could use it if they were from outside, but they cannot join any club. They cannot 2 people cannot go in on 1 card. Those are the rules. Marge, go ahead.
Oh, good. My arm was getting sore. Thank you. I have a question, because this is very confusing. At one time, we had We had, if I bought a house and I had a partner or a mate, I got 2 cards.
Yes.
Then we changed it that said, if I bought a house and I had no partner, I had 1 card. I mean, that was the original. Then we changed it that said, if I bought a house and I was single, I got a complimentary second card, right?
Right.
So, but it doesn't say anywhere that if I have a partner who moves in with me, well, I don't have
Yes.
a partner, I have a guest. My daughter came to visit and she's staying with me for a year. It doesn't say here, point one is, it doesn't say here that she can't use it for a year because it's my extra card, right?
Correct.
It scares me when Scott's not nodding. If I have 30 days, how are you going to enforce it? I mean, you can make all these rules that you want, but you can't enforce them. I mean, Scott, do we have somebody that goes out and bops everybody over the head and says, you're only one person, and if you have a second person on this card, I'm going to take it away?
If
You know
we
what I mean?
find out that they're using them against the policy, then we do take the card away.
But the policy right now is that a complimentary guest card that Kathy has, a single only annual guest card is issued to Kathy. She gets that because I get one for my husband. If I divorce my husband, oh, please don't tell him I said that. If I divorce my husband and I'm the only person in that house, then I will get a single card. And that's to put equal to his. This change makes it unequal to his, because he can use his every day. Bev, your partner can use it every day, right?
Yes, he can, and it's also, if I'm not mistaken, not a guest card. It's a complimentary card holder ID, which is totally different.
Well, it's not totally different. When we put it,
But it doesn't say
when the
guest card
board
on the card.
adopted it in January of 2020, a single person had a choice between those 2 items, and that's what the CPM says right now. The first one is called a complimentary cardholder ID, and that is issued to a person who is residing with the sole owner membership, and they have to show a proof of residency if they are living together. And it doesn't have to be a significant other. It could be somebody, a family member. It could even be a caregiver that is living with somebody 24/7. But so you have a choice to either that one or a complimentary guest card, where a single only annual guest card shall be issued to a sole owner GVR member for no fee where there is no other person residing with them. So you have a choice. You're either living with somebody, they can say that I'm paying the utility bill, and so you get 2 cards for that property, and that's what you're getting. I'm getting my card plus a complimentary guest card. It is good for 365 days. That's what made us single people equal to married people, because the married people were getting 2 cards for a house that a single person was only getting 1 card for the same price. That was a big issue back when we were fighting for it when it took effect in 2020. It is still in effect right now. I would like to see it continue the way it is, because that is what makes us equal to, whether it's a combination of significant others or a married couple. Candy.
Maybe I did not explain this well enough. So I would like CEO Mr. Summers to hop in and explain the difference between these 2, and then have Chris Subicki talk about, how difficult is it to figure out if they're using it 30 days or 60 days.
All right. Now, what are we comparing? The complimentary card versus the complimentary guest card, or the complimentary guest and the annual guest?
Let's start from the beginning.
Okay. Well, the annual guest card has been recently amended to allow up to 4 people on a guest card, and that guest card is good for 60 days, not 60 swipes, but 60 days. That's into effect, that went into effect as soon as the board approved it. The complimentary guest card has been open-ended like the annual guest pass used to be. Remember, the annual guest pass used to be open-ended. There were no limitations. And through our research, we were able to see that both the annual guest card and the complimentary guest card were the primary violations that were occurring in terms of improperly using your card. And again, because it's very easy, the card isn't assigned to anybody and it's open-ended. It can be used as many times in 1 year as possible. We did see some annual guest cards that were over 500 swipes in 1 year. I don't remember what we saw for complimentary guest cards, but when we did do the research, we saw that only a small percentage were over, and I can't remember if it was 30 days or 60 days, but it wasn't significant. Most people that receive and are entitled to a complimentary guest card are within the 60-day limit. And I think, again, most are even within the 30-day limit. What Bev Lawless has is a complimentary card holder. So this is somebody that lives in the house, and they can prove they live in the house because of their tax statement, bank statement, utility bill, whatever that might be. And GVR will issue them, if they're not on title, a complimentary card.
But wait a minute, you said a complimentary, but it says for a fee. So does Bev's partner pay a fee for the card?
No,
So
that's free.
then it's not under the additional card holder.
There's a separate thing. There's the complimentary card, and that goes to a single person who has somebody living in the home.
I'm reading that, yeah.
Additional card is somebody that just happens to be living there. It could be a child, it could be a friend.
But it says for a fee.
That, I
That's
think
an
that's,
additional card
yeah, I think that's
holder.
separate. We're talking
It's separate.
an additional
wait.
card holder versus a complimentary card holder.
So what Kathy has is just her, and she has a complimentary guest card that can be used whenever. Bev has a complimentary partner. Don't tell him I said that. He's a card holder, which is under C, that says additional card holder for a fee established by the board. Is there a different?
That's
what?
not correct.
No.
No, he's not A because he's not on the deed. He's not, is he A or is he C? And if he's A, why do we have C? Who
He's
said A?
A.
But you have to look at the right thing, Marge,
Are
because.
you saying I'm not looking at the right thing?
I'm looking at the CPM on page 5.
I know, we do have an expert here that could clear this up very easily.
Oh,
She's the
that's too
Director of Member
easy.
Services, and she could clarify the difference between additional card holder and a complimentary card holder and a complimentary guest pass.
Yes. Hi, guys. So the difference, the complimentary cards are only available to single-member owners. Right. So in Kathy's case, and in Bev's case, if you're a single owner, to make them whole, as that was described in 2020, or equal to the regular memberships, there was a complimentary card. It can be either a guest card, or if there's someone residing in the house with them, it would be a complimentary card holder. So the guest would be, you can use it, as long as you meet the eligibility requirements as a guest. But if there's someone residing in the home, then the card would have my name and picture on it. So if, for the additional card holder, that's if there were already 2-3 people in the house and they want to add another person, that's where the additional card holder comes into play. So the complimentary is only for single owners, single title owners.
And it's unlimited use? I mean, for the whole year like the other one?
It was.
1 use.
It was for one, it was good, the complimentary guest was good for one, is good for one person. Up until we made the revisions, it was good all year long, because it does say in here, it is a annual guest pass. It's an annual guest card. So when we revised the process, it was revised to the 60 days.
Doesn't have anybody living in, right, Kathy?
Yeah, well, if you
Correct.
could speak into the, so everybody can hear, Marge, what your
I
question
can't
is.
speak into this and watch her.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so Kathy has no one living with her.
Right.
That she'll tell us about.
Correct.
And so you don't get a second card that Bev gets for having a partner living with her.
I do get a
Scott's
second
gonna
card.
stick something under my
I do get a
nose.
second card. It is a complimentary guest card.
Why is yours a complimentary guest card rather than just a complimentary
Because
second
it
card?
is good for one person to use one per visit, one person per visit. What Bev has got is 365 days where her partner can use that card every single day. But in effect, this should be the same thing. If I have a guest, for example, if I have a friend who calls me up and says, I'd like to come out and stay with you for 6 months to see if I want to buy a house in Green Valley. Can I do that? Can I stay with you and would I have access to GVR? Yes, you would.
No,
Unless we change this.
no, right,
Unless you
technically, they're
change
not,
this.
a-
If you change this, then no, she can't do
Well,
that.
let me ask
yeah,
back.
that, technically, no, they wouldn't be allowed to, because that's not a temporary guest.
But what you're saying is, if I'm single and I move in, somebody hit me over the head, please. If I'm single and I buy a house, then I'm entitled to a second card,
Correct,
period.
correct.
And if I have a partner who moves in, they can use the second card and have their picture put on and be like me.
Yes, you would get one or the other, yes. The complimentary
Why
card.
do we have a guest card? I mean, I don't understand why we're doing this. I mean, I'm confused on why do we have to have a guest? Nancy's gonna throw something at me real soon. Why do we have to have a guest card and not just have a card available? I mean, why does Kathy not get the same card Bev gets and either chooses to have a partner or not?
Essentially, that's what it is. It's a different card, because if there's no one to assign it to, associate it with, then it's a guest pass. So she can use it on her friend Betty, she can use it for her sister June, I don't know if you have a sister. She can. It's open to whomever.
Her guest card is the same as Bev's. Can you guys hear me? Because I'm talking to her. It's the same as Bev's card for her other person.
No, because
called him your other
because
wait, you just
Bev's,
said it was the same.
well, it's the same type of card, it's a complimentary card. Bev's, because her spouse provided proof of residency, he gets the complimentary card holder. Because Kathy doesn't have anyone living with her, there's no person to associate with it, and there's no proof of residency that's been provided, so it's considered a guest card. So she can use it for any guest that comes in.
And so right now, she can use it 365 days a year. If I have a guest that comes and stays for a year, they can use that card.
No, because that's not a temporary guest.
We're going to change it.
Well, no, it's, even before, they're not a temporary guest, so we would have pulled that card.
Well, if they're temporary for a year,
No. We don't, well, at least because it's not defined in the CPM, we don't consider a year temporary. And that's, again, where we have some trouble enforcing this, because it's a little open-ended. We don't know exactly what temporary means.
But
In
okay.
our view, we're thinking, a couple of weeks, that's anything beyond that is not temporary.
But you see, if you take this away from the single owners, then we are no longer equal to a married person
Well, and
who is
that,
getting 2 cards for their.
technically, because the way that I look at it, you are receiving a second card.
Yes.
And unfortunately, GVR, the way that we always deal with things is per household. The dues are per household, we don't count the number of people, so we're looking at it as a household.
But that's, but
you're
you
getting
can't be
this-
doing that,
You're
Chris,
getting the
because
guest card for free.
Correct.
You're getting 60 days of a guest card that we pay for that you get for free.
right now I'm getting
Right,
365
but we're
days.
saying with this, you're getting 60 days, right?
Right now I'm getting 365
I
days.
know you are. I'm
And that's where
saying-
the
And that's
abuse
what
comes
I
in.
would like it to remain.
I know, and I'm saying this is what the change means, is that that card that you get now, and if we make this change, is good for your guest that you got for free.
Yes.
That we paid whatever for, is good for 60 days of a guest during the year, right?
Yes, it is free.
Candy.
It is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Candy. Hang on. What, after the board discusses the issue we're discussing, and before we vote on the motion, then people in the audience will be allowed to speak, okay? But right now, the board members have the floor. Candy?
I just have this feeling that this is something that we need to take the time to discuss a little bit before we bring it back to the board.
I second.
I guess I've made a motion to do that.
Scott?
I
There's
agree. I
just too
feel
much.
like this is being work sessioned and committed again, and therefore should probably go back to the Board Affairs Committee for hashing this out in room 2 for a while before it comes back to the board. That would be my recommendation.
Okay,
And in the meantime, leave it as it is, which is open-ended.
correct. And what I am going to have to do as a single person on this board, and the only single person on this board, I want to make sure that everybody understands that there are approximately 4,000 single people who are property owners. Given the figures that Chris gave us back in August, there were 668 people who lived with a partner. So that total is 1,336 single people, even though those 668 are living together. There also were 2,631 people who were single household people who did not have somebody living with them. So we had 3,967, and I'm just rounding it to 4,000 because I think that's fair. 4,000 people of the 23,500 people we have as members is 17% of the total membership. You need to pay attention to that many members and not cut them out from what they have already had. I don't have a problem with taking this back to the work session, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my singles club, which had 77 people at it the other day, and I'm going to say, if you guys want to be heard, you need to come to this meeting. And that's what we're going to have to do. Because we cannot just give this to a committee that doesn't have any single people on it, or only has one and is outvoted. That's not fair to the representation. Steve?
For the purpose of this, and it wouldn't matter if I was married or single, I happen to be the only name on the deed for the property. Doesn't,
When you added him to get a membership, he did it based on the fact that he's living in the house and gets his mail there?
basically, yeah.
Pretty much.
Okay.
But he's
second
also
Nellie
on the
because-
utilities.
Okay.
But you're still single.
Steve had his hand up and then Nellie.
All right, thank you. First of all, I think we've gotten off track here. Basically, what we're trying to do is align the new policy for the annual guest pass for 60 days, and we're trying to change the complimentary guest ID to parallel that so that we can enforce the guest policy. I don't think we're wanting to recreate all these rules and figure out if what's been done in the past was correct. I mean, if that's what our goal is here, then I'm not seeing this on the agenda. All right, what I'm seeing is that we are trying to align the complimentary guest ID with our annual guest policy that was passed. All right? And I think we should go ahead and go forward with that.
Nellie?
Well, I'm confused just what motion is on the table for a vote at this time. I don't believe it was a formal motion to postpone it. It was an idea. So therefore, the motion on Director or Chair Batchelor should be voted on unless someone makes a motion to postpone it and move it to the BAC committee. It wasn't, she didn't move a motion.
It was an implied motion, apparently. So I shall make a formal motion. Okay. I would like to make the formal motion that we discuss this guest complimentary, all these things, okay? Because I'm confused too. The complimentary guest pass policy during a work session and table the discussion now.
I second.
I did. Dave, before we do that, then we will ask if there's anybody in the audience that wants to be heard on this agenda item. Jeff?
Thank you. Jeff Washburn. I don't have my number. It's over there somewhere. I have a lot I want to say on this, but I'm going to keep this really short. This is an equity issue, and it's clear to me that this whole policy needs to be referred back to whoever the committee is that's working on this, and they need to have the right representation, including single people, to come up with an equitable policy. This is not an abuse enforcement policy. Abuse is going to happen no matter what, right?
Yes.
We're talking about an equitable policy here. And it's clear to me that, I mean, I haven't studied this issue, but you've really got my interest now. I'd be happy to volunteer to sit on and provide input for any of this committee's work, but it's clear to me that, I'm going to be brave here, you guys don't seem to understand your own policy. And that's the bottom line for me. And until you do, and the implications of that policy, it's about equity. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there anybody else that would like to speak to this item? Okay, the motion on the floor at this point is to cancel, I'm sorry, what was the right word for that? To postpone this discussion and to send it back to the BAC. Scott?
Follow-up question, which is, the motion says it's a work session. Several people, including myself and you, have said it goes back to the Board Affairs Committee. I think we need to clarify what the motion says, and if work session is the intent, then let's reaffirm that that is the case, that it is the board that will work session this at some point instead of the Board Affairs Committee.
I'm going with work session, but I mean, okay. I agree. I would like to have people there that know what they're talking about. Like single people, Chris, Scott, everybody who we need to answer these questions. And I think taking it back to the Board Affairs Committee, we don't have enough people there right now that can help us make a good decision.
I think either way, whether it goes back to BAC or it goes back to a work session of the board, there needs to be communication to the members that we're going to be discussing things that pertain to single people, single card holders that currently have a guest card that they can use 365 days, as opposed to taking some other action and limiting it to 30 days or 60 days. I don't care how many it is. To me, it's the principle of the matter, because I worked with that group that made that change that was effective in 2020. So, and in fact, that was the primary reason I got involved in GVR, was that we had a bunch of people that said, well, wait a minute, I'm paying the same price and getting one card, where married people are paying the same price and get two cards.